My fine art practice is predominantly creating paintings and sculptures, while creating a work that falls in between those two. I do that predominantly to change a viewer's perception about what they might know about painting and sculpture. The silicone represents the surface of a painting and then the classical wooden structure behind. So there's elements of traditionality and non-traditional between, surface and support systems. So that's how I interact and play with both the mediums of sculpture and painting. The undulations in the work, so the draping that I use, the technique, is so that there's depth created and you have shadows and with the light really reacts. And so a viewer can just come in and see the layers and really almost analyze the surface, but then they realize it's so soft and smooth, they have to go back and take the whole painting in again. My name is Manon Steyaert, I'm 27 and I'm a full-time practicing artist. I originally wanted to be in fashion. I always had this affinity with materials and how the draping on the body and how you can create something almost architecture from flat, because you use patterns and then you can create something 3D. So that's what got me into fashion. Didn't actually get in at Central St Martin's, and then did my undergraduate degree at Central St Martin's and then moved straight away to my master's at Chelsea. That was back in 2019, so I've been full-time ever since really, so about 4 years full-time practicing. So I was born in Belgium and then moved to France and then the UK. So I moved to the UK not knowing any English. And I always had this sense of imposter syndrome just a little bit. It installs that sense of questioning of belonging, questioning of what's right, where do I fit in, and it's also the same with art. And I think I took that essence of personality into my artwork at the moment of like, does it fit in? Should it fit in? How does it make it on its own? There's not a lot of artists that use silicone in this way. I'm a very curious person, so the essence of layers is how I discover things, bring it back down to its bare minimum and then reconstruct. It's the same as painting, and when I first took on these types of materials, break it down, put it back together, and then you can see everything. These are all the starting elements, and then when you put them together, this is what you get. So I think that's one bit I'm starting to realise about myself and the works and my connectivity. And so my show in October is called Magpie, because I was called a little magpie by my mum when I was a kid, like shiny things. And within fine art I always thought, shiny is too kitsch, or it's too, crafts. It's not enough fine art at the highbrow that's sometimes expected, I think, in cities like London. And I think that show's kind of more raw in terms of I'm really exposing what I actually truly like. In the future, I think I see my work going more into sculpture than painting, but I want to take essences of abstract painting into the sculpture. I don't know how it'll, present itself yet, which is quite exciting. And I really want to dive into this idea of installation on a residency that I'm going to actually next year, which I'm really excited for, in Berlin. I'll be diving into, working a little bit more sculpturally, installation. I think Berlin is the right place for it. I think I want to include a little bit more of my other passion in the future, which is cooking. I've actually written a cookbook. I've always been a fan of cooking. From my French heritage, my grandmother's just always cooking, my mum always cooking, like going to the farmer's market. It dives into my art a little bit, taking ingredients from the start, raw, fresh, whatever it might be, and then putting them together and you have such a different outcome. It's seeing it laid out before the end product. I like making things from scratch. Like my silicone, I colour the sheets myself, so it's actually interesting to see those connections. I want to include a little bit more of myself in it. Before it was just, recipes, but I wanted to make it a lot more personal and have photos of my artwork in it and me in the studio. I think that's something I want to do in the future, is combine food and art somehow. And there is a big project, but that's when I'm 50, and it's not yet being able to realise it between, art gallery / restaurant, but that's way down the line.